What's up, guys? It's John, and I wanted to run through our recap for today. Again, and for a lot of people, because we only have a couple basketball games we're playing tomorrow. There's 3 games, we're playing 2 of them. So this will probably go on YouTube as well. But obviously, everybody on here understands the system and why I enjoy it so much. But for anyone that's just watching on the tube, the reason I always talk about leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, 1 unit, 2 units, 4 units, I use this martingale system is because throughout the year, it's just proven we've only been about 2 months and 2 weeks, maybe something like that, not even 2 weeks, that I launched this here on Patreon. And again, we're doing incredibly well, up around 50 units after today. We had a really good day. And people get so frustrated over games where they get clipped or this or that happens. And it's the whole reason I just stick to a very disciplined system here. So yeah, anyone that just literally tails these picks, I get they're not the most fun, but I'm going to go into in a second why I think they hit at such a good rate. But today we had a really good day. Like I said, there's not as many plays for tomorrow, but we have a couple that I do like. And you'll see, there's no way I know all these schools and, UMass and Wofford and all these different colleges. It's just the metrics. If you go to the against the spreads, look at history. There are certain teams right now that are defying history. So we've just been betting the spreads, and it's to the point where just a few weeks ago we were playing at least 2 dozen different teams, fading them against the spread, taking them, fading the over, taking the whatever it may be, and now there's only like 8 to 12 teams who fit the category where they're defying history now. So it's the end of the season. The teams are thinning out, but hundreds upon hundreds of plays where we've done really good with this metric. So here we go. My apologies. All right, so first one right here. The reason I did 1 unit for Queens, North Florida, I went into, even though a team might be really good against this on the over like Queens, meaning people are going to be inclined to take the over. On some cases where it's set really high, like 164.5, I understand there might be a lot of public on the under with us. So I always try and make them for leg 1, leg 2, because while I love Queens to go under because they've been going over so much, the spread's kind of high. So we took that for 1 unit. So I kind of balanced the where Vegas has the line, whereas where it should be. So down 1 unit. Now the very next one is a perfect example of the opposite. Wofford is just as good on the over as Queens. Actually, they're not quite as good. 72, 73%, something like that. They probably dropped after today. Queens at like 76%, getting 30 more points. It just, to me, Wofford jumped out as a complete trap where almost everybody should have been on the over. It doesn't always work out that way. Just 2 days ago, yesterday, whenever it was, I think it was yesterday, we took the under on Air Force because it was at 136.5, and they scored 139, so it's not always going to work. But again, that's kind of how I pick. It's the best way I can do. So a lot of people ask me like why I like certain picks more than others. Again, I look at who their records against the spread on the over/under. Watford, Queens, basically the same on the under. They suck on the under. They go on over. Again, 70-something% times. But Vegas gives one team 30 more points. A little less, am I just appealing to me? So, of course, to the casual bettor who thinks it's real, they do the opposite. They would drop the 4 units on Queens because, oh my gosh, 164.5. You get my point. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of go into that. So I don't just look at, and we did it with the Hawks later on too. We'll be going into the Hawks. I made that a leg 2 instead of a leg 3 because even though they suck against the spread, I didn't think they were getting a trap line or anything. So anyway, I try and balance the trap lines with the against the spreads, if that makes any sense. So we're up 3 units. We got 4 and we lost 1. So up 3. We got the UMass cover. They actually won. But of course, you never know when we're going to get the... again, Chris pointed out, we'd be up like 30 more units. So we're up like 50 units now. 50 something, yeah, about 50 units. We'd be up like 80 something units if I didn't play any money lines this year. Just because we had so many games where the spread would have hit, and that's why I made this system. So that's my own fault. You can see we'd be doing even better if I just didn't get froggy and go for the money lines on some. Sometimes you see it looks like a trap, you take it, but there's been a lot where it's like 5 points, 6 points, and it adds up. So anyway, we're gonna be doing mostly all spreads going forward, outside of pick'ems and such, and tennis, because actually tennis we've done pretty good, just getting a plus value on a lot. But anyway, so 3 units. UMass puts us back up to 5. Auburn puts us at 9 units. This was like my favorite play outside of Detroit Mercy. It was just, again, Auburn giving 11.5 points to a team that's great against the spread. Similar records. South Carolina only had a few losses. So from like every angle, I thought this was like a pick 'em. Then I saw the spread, and I'm like, you kidding me? So here's another example. Like when you see something like this, if I'm fading a team that sucks against, or that's good against the spread, like I am here, when on top of it, it looks like a trap line. That's a leg 3 or 4 units. Like that's just why. So doesn't always work out, but we did really well today. So up 9 units, 10 units. You could say 10.25, but it's 10 units with North Kentucky winning. We lost Arkansas. They didn't cover, just like one. So back to 9 units. Detroit, I went into how I love them so much. And I realized there was another reason I liked them, but it was more for the win. They did move to 1-26, and their opponents moved to 6-21, which I thought was interesting. So IUPUI moved to 6-21. So I found that interesting. They covered easily. The public had to be, I mean, a team that hasn't won and they're giving up 5.5 just seemed like a trap to me. I missed the Knicks, so putting us back down to 11 units. But we got the Suns, so back up to 12. Kings, Nuggets in play. No way it's going over, even with overtime. So down to 10. The Heat puts us back at 11. I mentioned earlier the Hawks, not good enough for a leg 3. I had a feeling they might do something weird. But they suck against the spread, so I'm still going to play my metric. So back down to 9. Celtics got the cover back to 11. Spurs put us at 10. And the Jazz I just marked as, that's minus 8 units, or we're up 8 units. The reason I marked the Jazz is, even if they somehow come back and win, I seriously doubt they cover. So they're like down like 15 going into the fourth. So 8 units, and tennis really came and saved the bacon. Jari covering put us at 10 units. He covered. Borgs covered Fritz, putting us at 11 units. And Alisimi covered Rublev, putting us up 15 units. And in my last video, I actually said we'll probably get some nonsense where he gets like a 7-6, 7-6 type deal. And that's exactly what happened. So there was like 2 tie breaks, it went, something like that. And due to that, Rublev did not cover. So we did really good as far as, in my opinion, 50th. It might be. We've had a lot of days where we've done, I don't think it's our best day. It might be because we've had a lot of like plus teens, but we've had like 13 and probably had like a 17. But either way, one of our top days, always good. And tennis really came through with 7 units, an entire sequence. So we had a good day today, and we kind of did good all around. Weakest in the NBA, actually. So tennis and college. This is why I go into, like, it's important to be able to play the different games and play all the metrics. Because a lot of people just want to play a few games. If we just played the fun NBA games, we wouldn't have had a great day, to be honest. So I'll take plus 15 units over playing the fun games any day of the week. And I get not a lot of people love that. But if you're tailing on here, or for people that are watching again on YouTube, I'm going to post it on there because we're going over tomorrow's picks as well. But this is why the system's been strong since we've started it. Again, I think we're going to be at, the goal is 78 units for the finals. The goal was 50 units for the Super Bowl, which we did get. But then we dropped the day of the Super Bowl, ironically, below 50. And after today, we're quite above that. So still looking really good there as far as netting on the year. And again, it's only been like 2 months in, a little over, between 1 and 2 weeks. We launched it on the 4th of December, I believe. So yeah, looking really good. And now we're adding tennis. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but we're doing very, very well with tennis. And I really think it's, again, just picking the spots, understanding certain games look like traps. They are. There's so many guys run out there, and they should just wreck their opponents, and somehow they'll drop a set. We've seen Djokovic do it. We've seen so many of these guys do it. So tennis is really favorable, to be quite honest. And you can even do the alternate line. I didn't do any of those, but you can, or to just take an underdog outright. I didn't do that yesterday, but we've done it in the past. Fading Jobert is basically, for the most part, what we've done, and it's paid us pretty well. But yeah, doing really good with tennis. I think that'll continue. We've always done pretty good with tennis. And I do have a future lined up too. So we're going to go into tomorrow's basketball games. And again, I encourage people that, I understand if you just enjoy watching the NBA, but just give it a try because, colleges, I don't watch any of these games, but, I just check in on the scores. And it's not really a shocker. Every single week we seem to be, well, we are just profiting more and more. And it's sticking to the system, understanding we don't have to hit at a 70% clip. We technically only need to win at a 33% clip to profit, right? Because if we miss a leg one for one unit, we plug in, and that's a loss for one unit. We plug in a leg two, like we did with the Celtics, whoever. If that leg two loses, like we lost Hawks cover Hornets, we plug in a leg three for 4 units, like Purdue covers Minnesota. So we have sequences. That's how the whole works. If you go up, you'll see sequences. Leg one, leg two. If we lose three in a row, that's -7. Just for the people that weren't too sure, that's -7. We move on. We don't do a leg four. I've done like two all year, just to put in perspective, out of probably 500 plays. And if we win it, we just profited a unit. And we profit way more than 7 sequences for every time we lose 3 in a row. So, obviously, if we're winning 8 for every time we lose 7, we're profiting a unit. And we're doing better than that even. So, it's a system that I put a lot of intricacy into, but it also is one that I've never seen not pay out. So, doing really good with it this year. Anyone that's been following obviously knows that. But for the people that just kind of watch the NBA stuff, the NFL stuff, not really sure about the college, that's actually our bread and butter. Like, we're doing technically the best in the NBA, but college is starting to flip it because, again, college football we did terrible with. And Chris had just sent me something. He's always helping me with, we're always talking numbers and stuff. And he basically said there was a crazy, I didn't get to read it yet, but a crazy observation he noticed with over-unders. I think with over-unders, we're doing significantly better than spreads. I think that's what he was getting at. And from my memory, I mean, gosh, we faded the Pacers on the over because they went over so many times. We made a ton off of them. I think we've done better with over-unders too. So, again, a lot of it's not really it's not fun stuff. It's just looking into which metrics make the most sense. So anyway, going into that, Minnesota's at 87% against the spread. Sometimes you do have that one team that'll defy history and just be that good or that bad against the spread. But we don't see 90%. I haven't seen that in the history of college. So I got Purdue covering them -17.5 points, leg 3 for 4 units. Old Dominion, I like them to cover Louisiana. They have a much worse record. They suck against the spread. But they're not abysmal against the spread. They're not 18%. But they are 29 or 31%, something like that. And the line looks trappish as well. So I'll take them at the 3.5 for 2 units. Arkansas covers Troy, just leg 1 for 1 unit. Troy's really good against the spread. That's basically it. And same with the Illinois here. East Illinois and SEMO, I got them going over 132.5 for 1 unit. East Illinois sucks against the spread. Got West Illinois and Tennessee Tech going over 126.5 for 1 unit because they suck on the over. That's what I meant to say. Not against the spread. They suck on the over. West and East Illinois. Only 1 units because they're set kind of low. Again, if this was set 144, then I would love it because it's why is it set so high? But when it's set where it kind of should be, then I'm just going to be more conservative. Denver, North Dakota, same deal. It's set pretty high, so only 1 unit, but Denver goes over a lot. So I like that under for 157.5. Probably our golden goose this year, I could be wrong, in college at least, has been Cal St. Norge. We have faded them countless times and won almost every single time. They were just going nuts against the spread. And they get lines like this all the time. They have a much, much better record than Bakersfield, than Riverside, UC Irvine, all these other teams they're playing out there. And we were just fading them week out, probably for a week straight we faded them and they lost a bunch. And since they dropped so much against the spread, there was no reason to fade them anymore. They weren't defying history. They're still up there at 70% and getting a questionable line against Bakersfield. So we're going to play them again. We're going to fade Cal St. Norge, take Bakersfield minus the 1.5 for 2 units. Pacific sucks against the spread. I almost made this a leg 3, but they're really bad. They could be this year's Tulsa. Tulsa was the one team last year that finished just awful. They didn't make 20% against the spread. This year, there could definitely be a team like that. So that's why I didn't make this a leg 3, just a leg 2. But I think they'll cover. So leg 2 for 2 units, got Pacific. Bucks cover Grizzlies. Like this one goes, it's over double digits, and I think Doc's either going to have a game. I think they're going to be like the Suns, where Doc either gets, beat where he shouldn't, or they're going to win by like 25 points with very little in between. So I feel like this is one of those games where they come out and go nuts. So I'll take that minus 10.5. And Jazz is a leg 3 for 4 units. Again, I don't. They could have come back and beat the Lakers. By the time this video is out, you'll know. I doubt it. They were down by quite a bit. And even if they come back and backdoor win, they're not going to cover. I just don't see people taking the Jazz after not looking too good against the Lakers here. So they just lost to the Suns. So I think they're definitely going to get this one. So that's going to be a leg 3 for 4 units. It's a pick 'em, them versus the Warriors tomorrow. And I stay away from the Blazers Wolves. I just don't see anything there that's worth taking. But I do like Rybakina to win the entire Doha tournament. So I've been picking tennis, and it's tougher because like there's games tomorrow at like 7 a.m. I could put out. But let's be honest, by the time you see them, it might be too late. So I got what I could out with tennis, which is pretty good. We got like 3 picks out the last couple days. It's trying to sift through the different tournaments. But I like her to win Doha. A, because she's hot, and B, and more importantly, just because when she gets a push, she looks pretty dominant, and she's been looking pretty dominant. I think they want to. Swiatek is already established, really established. They're establishing Coco, and I think Rybakina needs to win something. It's been a little bit. I know she had the back-to-back. What was it? Wimbledon she won or something, but she hasn't won a ton since then. So I think she'll get this one, and I think all the money's going to be on Swiatek. So we've been doing pretty good with tennis, and this would be better odds than picking her, to win her respective matchup. She's minus 400 tomorrow. And obviously, if Swiatek gets eliminated, Rybakina becomes an odds-on favorite. But yeah, I think that's a good one, just for 1 unit, plus 200. But you obviously, if you lock it in tomorrow, the odds shouldn't change too much. Depending on how the morning matchups go, they might change a little bit. But Swiatek's probably going to stay in it as well as Rybakina. So the odds really shouldn't change that much, even if you don't get around it till later tomorrow night. Hopefully, the odds don't change too much, but I don't think they will. So yeah, not a ton of plays tomorrow, but I wanted to get that in there. I think she's gonna win the tournament. It's weird. It's just when I watch I watch of all the matches, like all the football and basketball, all college. Well, the one I'll watch will be tennis, because late at night they'll be playing, or early in the morning, and I'll just kind of put it on to see how certain players look. And she's kind of looking in form, which, again, it might be nothing, but I noticed with tennis there's tendencies I see a lot, and she just seems to be kind of on it, where kind of like I saw Sinner in the Australian Open, the way he was looking early on. It's like, he's probably going to win this thing, and majors are a little bit different, but we got that. We got a lot of tennis this year. Actually, dating back to last year, we've done really well with tennis. So now we're officially doing them. I hadn't been doing tennis for a while on the Patreon. I was just throwing out videos on YouTube, and we were doing good with that. But now that there's more tennis going on, I've been doing more tennis picks, and they've been coming through. You got a nice little 3-0 today, and I think as far as futures, we'll continue to do well as well. I went into the French Open. That's probably the most obvious one we're going to get in a long time. So we're going to pounce on that. And there's a few others too. But yeah, I think Rybakina is going to win the whole thing. And kind of set her up going into the French as well. Make her look good. Jo Barrer's got her little sob story going on. You got Coco, of course. And of course you got Sabalenka. So it's going to be pretty stacked. But I think you got to establish Rybakina a little more here. So yeah, that's what I like for tomorrow. And again, really, really good today. Plus 15. And had Jazz come through. And of course, they're not all going to come through. But probably would have, I think, been our best day. I don't think we've done a plus 20 yet. We've done pretty close, though. So this might not be our best day, but it's one of them. And that's another thing I like about the system. It's not like we hit at 90% or anything. It's just the plays I had the most conviction, and I was able to make them the leg 3 for 4 units. And they just happened to come through. So you can call it a coincidence. But it's been happening all year. We do really good with leg 3s typically. Because, again, the ones I'm playing for 4 units, it's 4 games out of, like 20 different matchups we picked. So I'm obviously going to reserve the ones I like the most as leg 3s. Just like tomorrow. I've been sitting on fading Minnesota. Like I said a couple videos ago, the second they play again, we're taking whoever plays them as a leg 3 for 4 units, because Minnesota's record against the spread is just getting ridiculous here, almost at 90%. So I just wanted to go into more of the numbers aspect, the metrics. I know it's a little more boring, but I think it kind of paints a picture as far as how the system really works. The numbers always bear out. We're doing really good, obviously, like I said, up 50 units, hoping to take that to 78. I think that would be fitting for the 78th finals. And yeah, we've only done it for about 2 months, so that's what's even nicer. It's not like we're doing anything crazy over here. We're just having the hit rate we need for this kind of system. We're probably hitting at like 55%, nothing nuts, maybe 60%, depending on the sport. But we're getting the important plays and understanding that if we continuously chase, that's never going to work. But if we lose a leg 3 for 4 units, okay, we lost 7 units on that sequence. That's fine. That's a -7 loss. We did +15 today alone. So that's the reason I don't chase. That's the reason I stick rigidly to the system. And I believe that's the reason that we've been up, basically since I started it. And for the people that are new, I went into this before too. That's not even counting the minus thing. I think it was -21 units at the least that we did in hockey. We did so laughably bad in hockey. Like Chris sends me my recap every couple, like every week he'll send me like a break. Well, every night we go over it, but like once a week at least he'll send me a breakdown of each sport. Every sport's in the positive. College now is in the positive. It was the only one in the negative still because of college football we did bad with, but we did really good with college basketball. So NBA like +30 and NFL like +36 or 26. College basketball's got to be like +15. It's pretty funny. And then you look at hockey and it's like -21. So maybe hockey's not that scripted. I'm not sure. It's pretty interesting though, because we're pretty consistent with every sport. And tennis, I think we're at like +10 at least now, because we got 7 today. We were up a good bit before, probably like closer to 15. I don't know. I'd have to check them all. But my point is, we're up in every sport except hockey, which is pretty funny. So someone pointed out to me hockey's very number based, and he's a gematria guy, Johnny K. So that could be why. It's just weird because, yeah, we've done good with everything. I just stopped doing hockey. I'm like, there's no reason for me to do it. I am horrible at picking hockey, so I stayed away from that. But yeah, doing really well, covering multiple sports. So I know a lot of people want to see just NBA, but as you can see, there's only 3 games tomorrow anyway, and I just think the value is picking the best metrics. So I do love the Jazz tomorrow. It's probably my favorite play out of all the games tomorrow. If that isn't, it's Purdue covers, but I like them both a lot. And again, today college hit at a much higher rate. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen, but typically toward the end of the college season, we do really well. But we're getting to the point in the NBA season where certain teams winning and losing doesn't make sense. Certain teams got to start winning to not defy history against the spread. This is last year we started taking the Heat and Mavs, and they were doing awful against the spread. This is where they started finally covering. It was like the third act of the year, and the Heat started finally getting some covers against the spread. So yeah, I just wanted to go into the spread aspect. I know for some people it's boring, but for me, if it's like proven, I don't want to say guaranteed, but guaranteed profit almost, and it's all proven, then I like going into it, and I think it bears repeating why the discipline aspect, and also, again, the leg system here, where we get 3 cracks at it. If we lose, we move on. The numbers are going to bear out in the end, which they have for us big time, versus trying to beat Vegas at a 65-70% clip. We're trying to get that one big parlay, all these different things. I understand that I'm not going to tell people how to go about going with their bets, but that's the reason I created this to begin with. I did a week free trial deal where anybody can just follow every pick because I don't get them out on YouTube every single day. I do on the membership sites, of course. So you could follow for a week, see if it's helping, see like, oh yeah, it actually is. He actually putting all these picks out in advance and they're hitting. We've done it since the 4th of December. There hasn't been a day I missed. So yeah, if you wanted to try that out, that'd be cool. Because every single day, again, I get people don't. If I'm doing NBA, I throw it on YouTube, but whenever I just go into tennis or golf or college, really not many people care to see it. It's only the people that are just tailing so they can profit, which I completely understand. So yeah, not a ton of games tomorrow, but hopefully another good day. Again, today finished really, really strong. Tennis really helped, but in general, Detroit Mercy, a lot of teams came through for us today. And again, just playing the numbers, I don't know anything about these teams. I mean, gosh, you'd have to be an encyclopedia to know about Detroit Mercy, the now 1-26 team, But that was interesting too, 126-621. Anytime I see that combination, I find it interesting. So they covered, so that's nice. And yeah, I think we went 4-0 on our leg threes today. So that's always going to basically guarantee a winning week or a winning day if we sweep our leg threes. So we only got 2 leg threes tomorrow. I think we'll split them at the worst. I don't think we're going to miss them both. Of course we could, but I think between the Jazz game and the Purdue, we probably get them both in. At the worst, we'll split them. So we'll see what happens there. So take care and happy earnings.